So welcome to the first episode of our Tits Up podcast. Woo! Yes. Clap. My name is Maddie. I am the owner of Madalynne Intimates. This is Lindsie.
Hey.
She is the Sew Busty gal behind Sew Busty. Christine of House of Morozin.
Hello.
And Katie from Katie Bug Sewing.
Hello.
This is the first episode of Tits Up, and it is going to be a monthly podcast about all things boobs and tits.
And butts.
And
butts, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
As the buddy girl, I have to add in.
Okay.
We're going to do some butt
Our booty
things.
representative. Apparently we're doing butt things too.
All right.
We're doing butt stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
They need to be covered too, guys.
Eventually. So the first episode, we didn't want to do something like super corny and like how to get into bra making. So we thought that we would do like a Halloween theme and do something like, what are you afraid of? Because there are so many people who are just love lingerie, but they are so afraid to get into bra making. They don't know where to start, or they have some horror stories, which we're going to share. They don't know what sewing when I was 18. My mom passed away from breast cancer, and 6 months after she passed away, I found her sewing machine in her linen closet. Oh. And I took it to my local tailor, who was completely nuts and 90 years old. As actually my first tattoo that I got was Mishka. So I ended up working at her tailor shop for 3 years, and that's how I started sewing. One thing led to the next. I ended up went to fashion school, dropped out of fashion school. I got a job at it was actually URBN, so it was Anthropologie, Urban Outfitters, Free People, Terrain and Beholden. Say that 5 times fast. So I started off in tech design, but I also then I switched over 2 years later, and I handled all internal communications and PR for URBN, which were all those brands. And I also did their photography and blog. And then in 2016, in the span of 2 months, Urban Outfitters came out with a Madalynne collection that was sold in stores and online, and Simplicity released 2 Madalynne patterns. So at the age of 28, I was the most single girl you ever met with 2 cats. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I try to start my own business? So in August of 2016, I left my secure 9-to-5 job with a 401k and health benefits, and started my own business full-time, Madalynne. The first year was a shit show, but it's gotten better each year, and I'm still here. So yeah, that's my story.
I'm Lindsie. I started sewing when I was really little. My mom sewed my whole life, and I have very early memories of being like under her sewing table, just staring at the pedal. So when I went sewing machine shopping recently, I saw she used a Viking machine, and I saw the pedal, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a rush of memories came over me. But yeah, I've been sewing basically my whole life. But I don't do it professionally. I'm a lawyer actually by day. But as I sort of got more into sewing, and especially as I got older and got to be more interested in having my clothes fit me instead of me trying to fit my clothes, I realized that having big boobs means that finding clothing at the store is basically impossible. And even patterns are usually not really made for big boobs. So I would search like Facebook and search Google for like large boob sewing. And there weren't resources, there wasn't a community, and I was really frustrated about it. I didn't feel like I was the person though. So I kept being like, whatever, I'm just gonna be over here on my island sewing for my big boobs all by myself. And eventually I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna start a blog and start an online community for people who are sewing for big tits. So I started Sew Busty, and that was like 6 months ago now, which is pretty awesome. And it's grown a lot, and it's been a fun time. So I do that
by night, and I'm a lawyer by day, and it's a good time. You go ahead.
Okay, I did not prepare this. I'm Christine from House of Morozin. I started sewing, I don't even know when, to be honest. I just remember my mom would make my clothes, not all of them, but she would make clothes when she felt like it. When I was growing up, I particularly remember a watermelon outfit. It had like the watermelon seeds, and then like the rind was like my shorts.
Oh my
Cute.
gosh, that's
So cute.
I want that now. Find a picture of it.
I may actually still have it somewhere.
Please post a picture on the Instagram so
If
we
I
can all
can
refer
find it, I will
back.
post it.
And then we'll
There's
make
probably
an
a
adult
picture
version.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll have to have that as a challenge.
Yeah.
It could be.
Redo-
I could make it.
Create a childhood outfit. That would be a fun challenge.
I could totally make it into a kit.
Oh
my gosh,
you
you
could.
You definitely have watermelon stuff right now.
Oh
my gosh, that's amazing.
So to be honest, I don't know when I first started sewing because it's been so long and it was so early on. I recently got back into it, I would say 2018. So I've occasionally sewn throughout my life, no passion, whatever, just, I know how to do this, so let me start. And then 18, I was like, let me bring my sewing machine to my house and I'm gonna sew. And then that was like passion lit up. So I started sewing eventually. I've just been sewing ever since. Pretty much almost at least once a week I sew, which is definitely different from pre-2018 Christine.
And I'm Katie. I've also been sewing since I was a kid. My mom, similar to both of you, made a lot of stuff for us growing up. I specifically remember her making Halloween costumes was like her favorite thing to do. So this is the time of year where I'm like, oh, when I look back at all the Halloween costumes she made for us. So that's sort of what taught me initially how to sew. Thank you. And I sort of was doing it intermittently every so often. I got a baby blue tiny sewing machine for my 12th birthday.
Ooh, that sounds cute.
It was adorable. It was a Kenmore Mini Ultra. And I was sewing on this little like 3/4 size sewing machine until maybe 2018 or 2019. And it was a workhorse. It did really well. And then my mom eventually bought me a Singer because she was like, okay, you're gonna sew on an adult sewing machine. But it was a piece of crap. No offense to the Singers of the world. It's just this particular one was not great. So I kept sewing on that. And then I finally recently upgraded to my Baby Lock, which I'm obsessed with. Sorry, Team Faf.
Yeah, Team
It's
Faf.
But I started sewing like a lot more clothing and dresses and stuff around the same time. It sounds like you got back into it,
Yeah.
Christine. And then over lockdown, I really just decided I have nothing else to do and this is weird. So I started sewing more lingerie, and actually that's around the time that I applied to work with Maddie. And ever since then, I have made 1 million bras. So many bras since I started working with Maddie, and I am not going to stop. I love them.
I love how we joked about, how many do you think we've made at this point? How many do you think we made? So 2021 started, and I was like, I'm going to keep track of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I stopped keeping track because I kept forgetting to write them down. It was like June. So let's say 6 months, it was at 200.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
200 pieces.
I remember when you showed me that, and I was like, wait, I should probably be keeping track of this. I was
Yeah.
like, I should probably know how
I'm
many
sure
you're
by the
sewing.
sales, like you would know. Or like,
Yeah. I was like, wait, I should be doing this.
And then you have the samples too that are outside of the sale.
Yeah.
that's true.
So
That's true. So then you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of lingerie. So clearly
A lot of
we
lingerie.
all have a lingerie thread, and we all think boobs need to be supported.
yes.
And I feel like we all come from like a different kind of
You have the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. We have Extra Busty over here. We have Christine with the beautiful badonk, and we have me as a plus size representative. So we're like a good representation of
Great
everyone.
representation. So we decided eventually that, you know, we need to talk about this. People need to come together, and boobs need to be supported. So how do we cross that avenue? So then here we go, Tits Up.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
And there was an
Thanks to
idea.
Maddie.
Yeah, and there was an idea that like we kept tossing around, and then one morning I was like super inspired. I was like, "Yo, let's do it. Let's get it. I'm gonna do this today. Christine, you do that tomorrow.
We're launching in 2 months, y'all.
Let's do it."
I was like, guys, let's do a lingerie podcast. I'm listening to a sewing podcast right now, but I don't find anything for lingerie. Like, I just started back at my 9 to 5, and I was like, I need a resource. I need something to listen to. So I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to listen to a sewing podcast.
Mhm.
And then I was like, is there a lingerie podcast? No. And then I'm like, we need to do this.
Yeah.
And then within the week, Maddie comes back with,
I think my
this
exact
is the date.
I think my exact words, let's not talk about it, let's be about it. October 4th,
Yeah.
can you be there? Or October 3rd, can you be there at 12 p.m.? Let's
No,
do
we
it.
had some date confusion.
But we're here. We
We're
made
here.
it.
Yeah, I was like, wait, October 4th, October 3rd?
That's a Monday, and
Or-
the three of us have 9 to 5 jobs.
I
So
was
we were like, wait.
Right?
Maddie was like, well, I'll be here regardless. So
Yeah.
if Monday works for you, come on.
Yeah, so here we are today.
Yeah.
First episode of many. And I'll now go into how we all met too. So when the pandemic hit, before the pandemic, I had an intern. Her name was Shayla, and she came like once a week, and she was more of like a mentorship. And she was great. And then she graduated or left and kind of did her own thing. She graduated school, started her own business, and I was here by myself. And when the pandemic hit, I was overwhelmed to say the least. I was just like orders coming in and people were at home taking my virtual classes. I think there were a couple weekends when Ryan was in here, which is like a big no-no for me. And I was like, can you cut this, cut that out, get this out? He's like, what am I doing? I was like, all right, I need to hire somebody. So I put out a hiring post, like now hiring, and I got a bunch of emails and stuff like that. Katie was one of them who applied, and I was like, I think I like this girl. She sews, so like she knows what sewing, like the sewing world, and with anybody who comes to work for Madalynne, I like, because I get a lot of responses like, I would love to work with you. I have a design background, but it's way more than design. Like I feel like the sewing community is like a whole different world in the fashion industry. So I'd like to make sure that they have like they know about the sewing community, sewing patterns, popular sewing blogs, indie patterns, stuff like that. So Katie actually started the first day the Mayoress came out. I remember like she interviewed like the week before. I was like, can you start Monday? Because I have a new pattern coming out and I really need somebody.
And I was like, hell yeah. I was in grad school at the time as well.
funny.
So it was like the perfect grad school job.
Yeah. And then Katie started and she was helping me with orders, helping me with like sample making. And then that September, I was like, I really need somebody else. So then I actually looked back through my emails. I had like a little folder for like job opportunities, Madalynne job opportunities, and I saw Christine's. And the first time Christine and I actually met was she came to I feel like we were going back and forth with like DMs, and she actually came to an open sew. And I was like, oh, what are you sewing? And she's like, oh, I want to try the barrett. She's like, what are you sewing? I'm like, oh, just my wedding dress. And I was like, I'm just hand stitching my wedding dress. Don't, go over there and just make yourself at home. So that was the first time we met in person. And so then I reached back out to her. I was like, hey, are you still interested in working? I could really use somebody to help with sewing orders. So from September to like until you graduated, Christine did most of the ready-to-wear orders. You did most of the sample orders. So Katie got a job, yay. And she now works 9 to 5, so we had to see her at like open sews, and Christine still does contract work, so she's back at her 9 to 5 now. But she still does a lot of the sample making, like if I'm doing any new patterns, she'll do the sample making for that. And we have 2 other girls who started for Madalynne, so yeah. But I still consider them part of the team because I'm always like, all right, when they got here today, I was like, let's do a brainstorm session because I really miss our brainstorm sessions.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah. So that's how we met.
And then Lindsie
and I came in.
Yes.
I met Christine.
So when Christine was here, like we were here, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the time. And Christine was always like, you have to like see the Sew Busty. Have you heard about the Sew Busty gal? Like in the Sew Busty Facebook group. And finally I was like, all right, let me check out this Sew Busty like chick. So like I checked her out. I was like, this chick's actually really good. I liked it. I like her. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, do you want to, I forget if I asked her to go to dinner or to open, maybe it was dinner first. And then we all went to dinner and then we started doing like open sews together, which we still do. So that's how we all met.
Yeah.
And then I feel like once we went to dinner, we did a group chat and then the podcast came up and then we started the podcast.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
And here we are today. I think the next thing is we're going to go into horror stories.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a topic that was off the cuff this week from Katie.
That was
horror, to keep on October theme is horror stories, lingerie horror stories. So that's anything ready to wear to bra making to wearing lingerie and like what has happened. We've got a few feedback, but you guys have some horror stories that you've heard too.
Yeah.
Do
we want
you
to
want
start
to
Wanna
get
go
into
first,
them?
Katie?
Yeah. Which one should I start with? I have a couple.
Oh boy.
I think so. One that's kind of horrifying to me is a friend of mine she was at work. We were both in the office together and we were in this like large company-wide meeting and the back of her bra, the strap just completely detached from the back band.
Oh my goodness.
It was a ready-to-wear bra. It was from like a reputable company. I won't name names. I won't call anyone out. But it just completely detached and the whole bra strap like flung forward.
Oh my God.
And
I can't imagine.
yeah. She was like, what is happening? Like, why is
She probably looked at him and was like, there's my boob.
Yeah, I mean, she felt it. It's like, it's a lot of pressure suddenly being sort of unleashed.
True.
So she's lucky that it was like a higher cut shirt because it could have been.
Thank God.
It could have been dangerous.
I'm imagining like when you take a bra off and you unsnap it in the back. So I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Mid-meeting.
Just like ricocheting off the front. But we're gonna fix it for her. She's gonna send it. She sews a little bit too, so she's gonna try to do it herself.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's exciting. My horror story is from when I first started making bras, and I had made a couple bralettes, and I decided, okay, I want to make an underwire bra now. So I was on a bunch of Facebook groups and had been like really listening. I'm like one of those people, I think Maddie and I differ on this. Maddie's like, jump in. And I'm like, I like to research a lot before I start anything. So I had been doing a lot of research, and the advice that I kept getting was like, you can make your first toil out of like cotton, and that's cheap. It's easily accessible. So I figured, okay, let me make my first toil out of cotton. And then once it fits, I can use bra making fabric, usually sheer cup lining or duoplex or something, to make the bra. So I did that. And I had my cotton bra and it fit really nicely. And I was like, okay, there's like a couple of things to tweak, but let me go ahead and make it in the sheer cup lining so I can tweak those things once it's in the actual fabric. Well, I make it in the sheer cup lining and I had like major quad boob.
Oh my God, I hate quad boob.
Like not just like a little quad boob, but like, I mean, it was like cutting my boob in half. And I'm like, this is way too small. Like this cup is just way too small. And what had happened, so cotton toils work, I think if you're smaller or less heavy breasted, but my breasts are so heavy that it had stretched the cotton. Sheer cup lining doesn't stretch. So when I put on the sheer cup lining version of the exact same size, it ended up being 4 cup sizes too small. And it was a struggle. So yeah, I had to start over with sheer cup lining. So that is my horror story / advice. Do not, especially if you're bigger boobed, do not try to toil in cotton.
Yeah, if you're not self-supporting, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
True. Oh, I'm just picturing that, like
Oh my god, I have pictures. I have pictures.
Suffocation is
I have
what comes
pictures.
to, like,
You have pictures? I do. I have pictures. I will share pictures later. Obviously with emojis over my nipples, but
Yeah.
I will
Did
share
your nipple even
pictures.
fit into the cup?
The nipple was like barely in.
It was
the
like
cup.
right on the line.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was not great.
That's kind of in fashion now. Like the underboob thing.
Yeah, the underboob. I'm
It's-
loving
yeah.
some underboob.
Yeah, when
Great.
he sent me the picture of the Roxy, I was like, nice underboob, Christine. Looking
I-
good.
Yeah,
it's true. I like it. I like it.
It's pretty out there, out and about.
I love it.
Out and about.
It's funny because speaking of the Roxy, somebody had sent me in like a targeted ad that they had gotten, and it's the exact. It's the
Is that the one you
exact
posted?
silhouette. I posted it, so I don't know if you saw it. It's
see.
it's yellow.
It's like
it was-
for 21 type of.
It's what it seems like. I'm not exactly sure where it was from. It was just a screenshot from it, but it was the exact replica, or silhouette, the exact silhouette with the same cutout with the bands on the bottom.
Yeah,
And
I
was
saw that, but I didn't understand what
Huh.
you were like. I thought you were just showing like, oh, this other person made the Roxy too.
Oh no! It's
I didn't realize that it was ready to wear bra.
That was an off the cuff story.
That's
If
wild.
you followed me for a while or listened to my stories or watched like my Instagram, they're very all over the place and not very planned. I don't plan my Instagram. So
I love
half the
your
time-
Instagram.
I love it too.
So
yeah.
half the time it's like, okay, here's half the information, but my brain, you got the whole thing.
Oh, that's
You got to me, you got all the information you needed, but in reality, no.
Yeah. I mean, I really admire all three of your ability to like stay on social media and post regularly because I forget. I've made so many things that I'm like, oh, I posted about that. No, I didn't.
We just need you all month, all year to have a Me Made May. 'Cause
Yes.
You were on
Well,
all
okay, you're
half
on.
of Me Made May.
Until about the 15th, at which
Oh,
point I'm like,
yeah.
I'm done with this.
That's true.
you did really well. You did really
Until
well.
about the
The
15th.
15th,
when I
so
stopped
that took
posting.
longer than most people last. I think.
would
I think I
say
lasted
yes.
till like maybe the 10th, maybe.
Yeah. I'm bad at social media.
It's okay.
And
We'll
that's
get you back
okay.
into it.
Yeah, but when you do contribute though, it's like, damn, yeah, that's good. That's really good.
100%.
Like I don't think we heard from you like all week, and then we're like, do you have any idea? You're like horror stories. I'm like,
then I disappeared.
yes. I'm like, that's a great idea.
I've
the same
heard
thing.
so many.
You think that you like tell a whole story on your social media, and I think that in our conversation I'm participating. I'm not. I'm just reading the whole thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having a great talk with these girls, and I haven't said a thing for a week and a half.
That's great.
I just like forget that I need to reply.
Oh gosh, that's
So funny.
So if you know me in my personal life, sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I just thought that I replied.
But it's
We all
okay.
get like that
It's
sometimes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You do you, boo. That's
Right.
that's my
It's
motto.
fine.
And I think you had one more, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
This is a fun one. So another horror story. I had a crush on a boy, and he was in my room, and it wasn't like anything inappropriate. I was young, but he saw one of my bras in my hamper and was like, "Oh, this fits on my head because my boobs are so big that you can just put a whole cup on your head, and it's like a hat." And I was humiliated. because
I'm
it's,
sure.
like, body shame and like weird things about like, oh, I should have these like cute little perky boobs, and I never have. So
My cheeks would have been like so red. I would have been like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like I would have gone bright red.
it's like I need to sink into the floor.
Yeah, how did you?
Yeah. How did you
recover? Don't touch it. Don't see it. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
And now it's hilariously just out in the open.
Oh yeah, no.
Now I'm
so
like,
I
yes,
never-
this is my cup.
I never would have imagined in high school or even in early college that I would ever be comfortable posting a photo of myself in just my bra and underwear. Because I was like, everyone hates their body.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, hey, look at my belly. Doesn't it look great? Look
It
at my
does
boobs.
look great.
Like, I
It
don't
does
care.
look great.
Awesome.
But it's just like a total change. And I think sewing actually is a big part of that. Because
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I
I
can
would
make
agree
something
with
that
that.
fits me, and I can see representation from lots of other people also making things that fit them.
Yeah.
I
It's
would
like,
say
good
that's
for
the
you.
biggest thing with the sewing community, especially like the Instagram specific. I know some
Mhm.
people are not on Instagram,
Mhm.
but Instagram specific sewing community, seeing people looking like you, seeing people even who don't look like you, but they're like, here I am.
Also
like,
rocking it.
Also rocking it. So the body confidence has,
Yeah.
the sewing confidence has just, I don't know about like you, but it's skyrocketed when I like started posting and got a little bit more comfortable like with posting sewing stuff. And everybody is just amazing.
Everybody is so nice.
Yeah, for me, like when I would photograph people, different like models for different styles and stuff like that. I think one of the biggest things I realized over photographing people for like a couple years was that I've had beautiful models in here, quote unquote, like beautiful models, like the model type and stuff like that, and they are so self-conscious and like it's just very unattractive. And then you have like some plus size, she has cellulite, she has stretch marks, she's like, yeah, I'm feeling myself in this one.
And that's the important thing.
And I'm just like, yes, girl, yes, I love you. I love you for that.
Because you can see that.
Totally. Lingerie. She's like, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Like that I'm so awkward. You know, I'm just so sorry. And I'm like, what are you sorry about? I was like, just do your thing and like whatever. And I could just tell she was so self-conscious about herself that it was like unattractive. Whereas the other girl who came out, she was like, this looks great on me. And I was like, yes, it looks awesome on you. So I think that body positivity is an attitude, and I feel like it's more attractive when you just own your like whatever, you know.
It's also such a journey though. Like
it takes a while to get there.
It does, and it's
to like your boobs, like
and it's not a straight line. It's
oh my god!
Like there are definitely days that I like stand in front of the mirror. I'm like, I'm not posting today. Like I'm not today.
Or you take 20 pictures and one of them is acceptable to you, and you're like, 100%. Okay, we're having one of those days. Yeah, but just like being able to understand that happens and it doesn't mean anything bad about you is just like a different mindset that you have to be able to say like, okay, well, I hate myself today and tomorrow I probably won't, and that's okay.
It's the that's okay. That is the change and the kicker with it.
And I think with us, like one thing that I think we all have in common is we're not all about perfection.
Oh yeah,
like that's the one like kind of inverse to this. Sometimes in the Instagram sewing community, there's like such an investment in like has to fit perfectly. Your darts have to be exactly where they need to be. Like blah, 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 blah. And none of us are like that. We're all like,
I had a comment from somebody and it was the Lauren bathing suits and it was the low cut one. Yes, it was the low cut one.
Was it the bright green one?
Yes.
I think I saw this comment. I was pissed about it.
And she I forget if she emailed or commented or DM'd, but
I sewed that.
Christine sewed that. But because there was no like center front panel, it was kind of like shifting to the side, which is fine because we added like a little strip here to like for modesty to keep everything in. And so there's just like a little bit of a fold here along the princess seam. And she emailed me or she messaged me.
She's like something.
She's like, how do you eliminate that? That would just bother me so much.
It was a little extra fabric right here.
Yeah, and I was like, she's like, it would just bother me so much, and it's just such a big fit issue. And I was like, okay, one, like you made the bathing suit, that's awesome. And if there's one little wrinkle there, like just rock your me made. I was like, it fits everywhere else, and you're going to concentrate on that little tiny like drag mark there. It's like. Absolutely. No, I made the whole thing. I'm very proud of it and it looks great on.
Well, that even just this week, I posted that dress that I made on Monday.
I love that.
And thank you. I love it too. I fucking love this dress. Sorry, I curse live. I do too.
We're going to be on this.
We're going to have it beautiful. So I posted and my whole post was about how like the fit wasn't 100% perfect, but I still feel like $1,000,000 in this dress. And like, that was the whole caption. And then someone comments and they're like, this is too tight on your bust. And I'm like, first of all, no, it's not. Like, that's not actually where the drag marks are. And number two, like, did you read the freaking caption?
I think that's the biggest thing is people don't actually read.
Oh my God, no one.
Oh, 100%.
Which is fine. Which is
100%.
fine. But
Yeah,
just so you
but
guys are
also-
aware, read the captions and know what it's about. Thank you.
Also, I think the other thing that's interesting in the sewing community is that people do get really hung up on fit and will say things like they said to you. But if you think about the way that you force yourself to fit into ready-to-wear clothes that doesn't fit you properly, if you're okay with that, why aren't you okay with it in your sewing?
Yeah, like the dress that I made
true.
on Monday, like it doesn't fit 100% perfectly. It's probably like, I don't know, 90% there.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Doesn't mean you can't wear it.
Well, it doesn't mean I can't wear it. And a dress that I buy from H&M or wherever is going to be like, I don't know, maybe 60%.
Right, I was gonna say, like, 75%.
It's still like way, way better. Like it still fits way better than anything I could buy in the store. So why would I get hung up on like 10%, like little tweaks that would make it, you know, perfect or whatever?
Yeah.
When I could just enjoy rocking, you know, the garment that I just made.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And I think just getting into like the topic, which we
Oh, yes.
basically have, is we've touched on the fact that we've had people comment about fit
Mhm.
and that fit scares them to get into anything, which you're going to go through some hurdles. Okay, it fits 80% or 85. Excuse me. Percent of the time or percent of the way. You're 85% there. It's like, okay, next time you'll be 90% there. Tweak a little thing. Next time you're not going to know until you do it.
And that's especially true with lingerie. So like getting into our topic today, which is sewing, especially bras, but lingerie in general. Like your first time making a bra, it is not going to fit 100%.
No.
So a lot of people reached out to us and said that they're really scared of making something that's not going to fit. Like, I don't know how to make you not be scared of that. The reality is it's going to happen.
I tell people, well, you know what's great about bra making is that it might not fit the first time, but you didn't waste a month making it. It's going to be a really quick sew. It's going to be a couple hours, and it's not going to fit, but then you can make the next one the next day or next week. It's not like a fully lined jacket where you spend a month of your life sewing this thing and it doesn't fit.
Yeah. I will say, like, when I first started sewing bras, it took me, I think I ended up spending about like 25 hours total. And I'm talking underwire bras. So bralette, like that was really fast. So I think my second or third bralette fit pretty perfectly. But underwire bras are a little bit more involved. It took me probably about 25 hours total of sewing bras and probably about $70 in materials. But even if I compare that to ready to wear, I was spending $100 a bra.
I was going to say, you cannot buy a $70 bra
okay,
for our
like,
cup sizes.
so I've spent $70 in 25 hours, and now I have a perfectly fitting bra that like actually like forms to my body.
And that you can make again and again.
Exactly.
And, again,
and now it's like $20 for materials and like maybe 5 hours to make a bra every time I want to make a new underwire bra for myself.
And when you're buying the ready to wear ready-made, it's usually from a large mass manufacturer company. And when you're buying the bra making supplies, you're probably supporting a small business. Yes, so you're giving me a business, so I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're able to even finish a bralette project, like that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, check that box. Absolutely.
The first bralette I ever made, I didn't even finish because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost.
Yeah.
And I had to like give up and walk away from it. And then I tried again a couple months later and eventually figured it out, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why things like, you know, Maddie's online workshops are so great, because having that interaction with someone when you're first starting to learn, I think is so helpful.
So helpful.
Well, I get a lot of emails, questions, DMs, like, where do I start? And I always say, like, do the intro to sewing lingerie for beginners virtual class. Get a kit. Like, it is a great place to start. And a lot of people have like very high expectations. Well, I want to make this underwire bra, or I want to like redo this corset, or I want to do that. I'm like, start simple. Do this super simple project. Get used to
I love underwire bras. I wear them 90% of the time.
Me too.
And I still think starting with a bralette is the best decision. I was talking to Maddie about this earlier, because when you sew a bralette, you start to learn about your body in ways you've never thought about your body before. Like I had my sides, like my seam of my cup is like way over here,
Yeah,
and
it's
my
coming
boob
in.
ends here. And that translates to an underwire bra because my underwire was also like way over here and it needed to be here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in the lingerie kit too, like the trimmies kits.
yeah, the kits. Mhm.
Yeah, I think I made that mistake with my first one too. Is I tried to source all my materials from Joann's, and it just doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
their Pico elastic sucks. It doesn't have any like support. The stretch mesh you get doesn't have any support. It's doable.
Yeah, for getting bra making supplies, get it from a specialty bra making store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
and if
they
you
kn-
can get a kit because trying to find everything individually is
You'll end up spending more money,
yeah.
100%.
And wasting. I think that goes into, I'm back. Into wasting material, time,
Yeah.
and money.
Mhm.
Trying to piecemeal it together
Yeah.
Yeah.
wastes a lot more than if you just start with a kit. Cut into the kit. Don't just buy it. Cut into it.
Yeah, don't be precious. It's not gonna look good. Just accept that your
I'm
person's
totally
probably
that
gonna
way.
look
It's
good.
so funny though because I have a Maddie kit at
So many
home,
people
and
have,
I like haven't cut into it.
We joke because some people will post and they have like 10 of my kits and none of them have been cut into. I'm like, cut into them.
Well, and then they buy more. You know them.
I'm going to give you a tip. If you are not a 4X at EF cup, GH cup. If you're anywhere smaller than that, I would say even pretty close, like you have extra material.
I can't quite get 2 out of like a Lauren kit, but I could get 2 out of like a Barrett kit.
Okay.
And I'm an XL. Well, for a Barrett, I'm a medium back, a 3X cup, and I could make 2.
And the same thing for underwire bras too. If you are wanting to jump into underwire bras, there are kits out there for underwire bras, and especially they're muslin. There's a couple of suppliers that specifically make muslin kits, which is perfect. So they're not cotton because don't use cotton as we've already gone over. But it's sheer cup lining, and you get tons of it. You get like enough for like three muslins, which is really great when
That
you're
would be
first
great.
trying to figure it out.
That would be a great place to start for that as well.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I was afraid of when I started trying to sew underwires is like figuring out how to get an underwire that's the right size.
Yeah.
So for
And
the
doing the root trace.
so for the longest time, I didn't have a horror story until now. So for the longest time, I would sew on the channeling first pass and then second pass, and then I would actually put the underwire between the channeling and the fabric.
Oh no, not in the
Wait. So it was during one of my classes, one of the students was like,
Oh my
you
goodness.
can put this in the channeling. We put this in the channeling, right? I was like, oh yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah.
That's
Exactly where it goes. And I was like, oh my God.
We were just talking about this
Yes,
like a couple
we were
weeks
talking about
ago.
this.
Were you really?
I was like,
It had come up that somebody else did the same thing, and it was.
mind blown. I was
Oh
like,
my
But
God.
that's the other thing.
If
you see something though, like
Yeah,
I
you don't
saw
know.
it and let the person know, hey, just so you know, like channeling is channeling. Yeah.
There's a channel and
There's
opening in
there's
it.
a channel, but
But
I'm gonna
It's
be
not
honest.
obvious.
Yeah.
I didn't know until you told me that horror story. At that point, I hadn't tried an underwire bra, so
I was like-
I didn't use channeling.
I was like, Maddie, channeling, the word means something goes inside.
I don't
How have you gone this long
No.
and thought that something doesn't go
I
inside?
was be with you. I was with you in that because the way that you sew it, in my mind, creates the channel.
And when you buy
exactly.
it's not
It's not-
like
you
it's
don't
stuck
have to
together.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like wiggle
Force it open,
wiggle
yeah.
that in. Yeah.
I just remember that and I was
never. I would have never known, and I would have gone down that avenue if you didn't tell me that horror story before I bought.
That is so
And that's why I always think that you are forever learning.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And like nobody's really like an expert in this. We're all like just learning. I don't consider anybody like up here or down there. Like we're all on the same path and we all can learn from each other.
Absolutely. And if
Mhm.
you see something, if you see something, say something.
Oh, okay.
But in a nice way.
In a nice way.
It's
Yeah.
the way you approach it.
Yeah. I
always
and
ask.
I think that
Yeah, are
is
you
good.
open to feedback?
Yeah, are you open to feedback? And then if they say yes, then I say whatever.
Yeah.
Because I do think like sometimes, you just want to post and like and just like be like, I love this thing, and you don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? You just
yeah.
want to be like positive about it. So I think it's always good to like find out like, are you open to it? And
Yeah.
usually people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about some of the fears that people shared with us?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think we
Sure.
talked about figuring out the sizing.
Yes.
And the wasting, honestly, and
We've
wasting
talked-
money.
yeah, we've talked about a lot of
we've
them.
hit on a bunch of them.
We've talked about a lot of them.
Honestly, there was a lot of
Fabrics.
people saying they were stressed.
Yeah.
Like it stresses them out. And to touch on that, we have touched on it, but I think that kits and going to bra making supply specific stores would be the best to not be stressed, because they do the research for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to piecemeal together, find what is this, what is that, what is this. If you go to a bra making class with Maddie,
Mhm.
you will get all the background on every different, and I mean, we're going to touch on it too, I think, eventually, what everything is in bra making.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
I
we
think
will
for your next one will be our
Probably
next
week.
our
Or
next
not next week.
Next week.
Not next week. Next month.
I think our next episode is going to be, so where do you start?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
afraid. This is what you're afraid of, and we want to address all of that. So we give you kind of like the lowdown on where to start. Different bra patterns, where to get your supplies.
Yeah, so basically don't be stressed. Just listen to Tits Up.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I'll quote from Nikki from Sewing My Style,
Mhm.
which hopefully a lot of you follow on Instagram. She said during the Great Bra Sewing Bee, she said something like, "It's not that serious."
It's
And I
just for
loved
us.
that. I was
It's
like,
just sewing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not that serious. Like,
You say that
we're
a lot
talking
too,
about
Maddie.
clothing.
I say when people are like my workshops and they're getting frustrated, I'm like, listen, we're not curing cancer. We're
Yes.
making panties.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna die. I hope not, but nobody's gonna die. We're all gonna get through this.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's really nice about like sourcing kits too is that, like you said, the people who are making these kits have done all the work for you, and they've already gone through the failures that you will probably encounter if you try to find things yourself. Like they've gotten the shitty elastic and they've gotten the shitty fabric and they've found what doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Mhm.
So then you don't have to worry about trying to find it yourself.
Right, you don't have to go to Amazon and
Oh, God, don't go to
AliExpress and-
Amazon.
yeah, and AliExpress
And I would say,
is
like-
just a big like that stresses me out.
Oh, yeah.
I will
logging into
say- I will
AliExpress.
say-
I don't know how people order from them.
AliExpress is okay for laces. I have my own opinion, which I've always shared about. Their elastics, don't get their elastics.
Yeah.
I feel like their elastics are not good quality. And 100%, if you have poor quality elastics, you're gonna
It's not
get
gonna work.
you're gonna
Oh
get
yeah, you're gonna be wavy.
wavy.
As we learned, I
Yes.
tried to use, I was making a toil, and see, this is going back to horror
Oh, the
stories all over
Phoenix.
again. I was making
It's
a toil
all
of the
connected,
Phoenix,
absolutely.
and I was like, I have this elastic. I don't even know where I got it. It's just in my stash. Let me just like go ahead and use this like really thin fold over elastic.
Mhm.
And like, I know how to sew elastic, and it came out so wavy, and I was so embarrassed.
It's so
I'm like,
frustrating.
I just
Well,
need to
also
start
sometimes
over.
you have days where you just can't sew. I remember one
Yeah,
time I
that's
came
true.
in and I came into work with Maddie and I was sewing a pair of Noel underwear and I was like, I can't sew today.
I think I remember that day.
This fold over elastic is so
I
wavy.
remember that day.
I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't sew today.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I had a seam ripper in my hand the entire day.
Yeah, and sometimes like those days happen, and it's
Yeah.
okay to say like I'm going to take a step back. I'm not going to sew
I'm
today.
gonna watch TV.
Yeah,
or do
do
something
that.
else. Yeah.
I can work on something else.
Now, we have sewn over 200 pieces of lingerie,
Mhm.
and we have seam rippers in our hand. We
Oh
have
my
seam
God.
rippers in our sewing kit.
Oh,
We have seam rippers in our hand.
Constantly ripping stitches.
I just did my my spooky set. I don't know if you saw like my
Ooh.
orange and black.
What?
You did a candy corn set?
No. The one, it's mostly white. It's mostly white.
Oh,
Hold
okay.
on. I
The
need
one
to
with
see
the,
I know
the
for-
Roxy underboob one.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
the Roxy with the peekaboo underboob. I had to unpick the Pico elastic because I went
Oh.
wrong side,
Oh,
wrong
that
side
sucks.
first
Ugh.
because Pico.
Oh, I didn't know that was black and orange. I thought it was
Oh,
like
yeah, it's black and orange.
I thought it was like red and blue.
I thought it was like navy.
yeah, I thought it was
I
like
have
navy.
questions
Oh,
about
oops.
your colorblind.
Yeah. I scroll way too much. Like I just scroll and I
Also,
quickly see it.
My carpet, I took it obviously like on my carpet and
Mm.
probably should have done a different background, but it's fine. The green background works.
Yeah.
It was a choice, but it's fine.
We all make choices.
Yeah. So
All right, I'm
the
back.
Pico on that, I mean, it's not technically a horror story, but it's kind of something you kick yourself, but you make mistakes.
Oh, you
Mistakes
totally
are going
make
to
mistakes.
happen.
But especially when you're using, like, the poor quality elastic might be okay when using sheer fabrics, but once you start using thicker bra making fabrics, such as powder net,
Yes.
swim fabrics, it's just not strong enough to hold up to it.
It doesn't have the right stretch. Yeah.
It doesn't have the right stretch, and
Recovery.
it will recovery.
the
It will
firmness
get,
of the stretch.
it
You
will
know,
get
the right
stretched out.
percentage. Yeah.
And this might all sound very confusing right now, but we will cover it. If you're not at that point in your bra making,
It's also just
we're going to
like,
cover it next week.
Yeah, like
Okay, I keep saying next week, next
month.
podcast.
I'm
you
not
kind of
coming
just
back
learn it
next
as you
week.
work with it. Like it just starts to feel like it makes sense in your hands. You're like, okay, I understand that this elastic I'm feeling right now is kind of bad because I felt other ones that aren't that way.
Yeah.
Right.
And applying,
And that's over time.
yeah, it really takes a long time. I get a lot of questions from students, from people online, like, how much should I stretch elastic? And there's no answer that is like concrete. It's like, I stretch elastic differently with the type of elastic, the type of fabric, what I'm sewing, where I'm sewing it. Like, even when they were working, I'm like, add a little bit of tension here, add a little bit more tension there, a little less tension there. And it's just something that you develop over time. And you know what's going to work and not going to work.
Should we talk about finding patterns? I think that was another fear, is finding a pattern in your size. I think that came from some of my followers who I think are like, I have K-cup boobs. Where am I going to find the pattern?
I think that's part of what's really helpful about having like a resource like Sew Busty, is that if you find a community of people who struggle with the same fitting issues that you do, that can be a really good place to get recommendations.
Yeah.
But there's not always that community available.
True.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you can't find the community, start it.
Well, and but we also, I think, because we all come from different like perspectives as far as like our size and shape goes, I think I'll have pattern recommendations probably that we can get into probably next time.
And if it's something that you're looking for before we come back or reconvene, I'm sure we'll have question boxes. We've had question boxes all month, but I'm sure we'll have question boxes for the upcoming thing. So add it into that. We'll be paying attention to it and we can respond. One of the four of us will have a recommendation for you, but
Check out Sew Busty's resource.
So I have a roundup of bra patterns that are H cup or bigger are covered. But also like Maddie just came out with a whole new size band, right?
Yeah, that was
really exciting.
That was fun. Trying to get that to like work was like, because it didn't follow all the other grade rules that we did when the grader like did it. And I was even texting you picture or messaging you pictures. So I was like, wow, like this is just
like big boobs
just
they don't follow the same rules that small boobs do. So that's why it's harder to find patterns sometimes.
I tried to smoosh it. It didn't work. It was a lantern fly.
No.
If you guys have been to the studio, or even if you haven't been to the studio,
But you've been in the Philadelphia region.
We are swarmed by lantern flies. We have a window open that doesn't
People don't
have a
even know what that
screen.
is. I have an intern in North Carolina right now, and she didn't know what I was talking
A
about.
spotted lanternfly is an invasive species, and it looks beautiful, but it's not. If you see it, kill it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I normally would not advocate killing bugs, so.
We're a little infested of where the studio is, and we have
Wait, whoa, we're not infested
We're
here.
not in the studio. Not in the studio.
Outside.
There are a lot of lantern flies that are flying around outside.
I'm like, don't tell people they're
Oh my God.
infested.
That is definitely the wrong word.
No.
Outside the studio, they
Fly
like
balls.
to hang out.
They do outside.
They like to come in
Outside,
here.
yeah.
They do like to come in here.
So
Sometimes I'm like carrying all myself and like put it down. I have like 6 lantern flies on me. I'm like, what the?
Because they're not scared. Like other
No,
bugs are scared of people.
And
They're not scared of
at you
people.
and into you and bounce off of you. It's very interesting.
Anyway.
Okay,
We've gotten off topic here. Feel bad. And I think we have like 5 minutes left?
Yeah, we've got like 5 minutes.
Should we check the comments now and see if any
I've
questions?
been sort of keeping an eye. I haven't seen anything.
Same.
But if you are watching and you have a question about anything or a comment, please feel free.
I think this would be a good time to wrap up. I know it's not an hour, but it's 55 minutes.
Yeah,
No, I
pretty
think
close.
Yeah.
I will say we did miss a segment.
What?
Do we miss a
What did we
Truth and a
miss?
Lie?
We missed
Let's finish it. That's a great way to finish. Okay, so
great way to finish.
we'll finish it by saying the next
That's a good one.
episode. So we talked about like some of the things that you are afraid of. to get into bra making. Our next episode, we want it to be So You're Afraid of It. We want to address all of those. So where do you start? So that will be the topic for our next episode. We'll have a date up. When we first launched the podcast, we did a 2 truths and 1 lie. So we're going to reveal that. So do you want me to start since I'm?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So my 3 options were, I used to scuba dive and race cars when I was younger. I'm not naturally a redhead, or my name is not Maddie.
I know it.
Wait, hold on. Are you logged in to
So my 2 truths is I did used to race cars and scuba dive. I am a natural redhead. My name is not Maddie. It is Marion, and nobody is ever allowed to call me that. Brian found out like 6 months after we started dating, and we went to go book a flight, and he's like, Marion.
No, 41% thought she was not a natural redhead. That's still like a lot of people thinking you're.
I will say I am naturally a redhead. I do add red to it.
Yeah.
She's not actually this vibrant.
Yeah.
But the red is.
I get it boosted. That's what my hairdresser calls it.
I do the same thing.
Boost your hair.
I boost mine too.
Yeah.
Although I don't boost mine as much as you boost yours. So my first job was as a strawberry picker at a berry farm. That's true.
Aww.
I was 13 and like got a summer job. Red, but as it oxidizes, it turns blue. So my hands were just dyed blue like the whole summer.
I didn't know that.
They smell horrible when you're out in the fields. Anyway, it was a terrible job, but I finally come to appreciate strawberries again, and I'm really glad about it. I use my serger more than my sewing machine. That is absolutely fiction, and everyone knew that. So
I knew that when you said that.
Spoken about it.
I'm like, I know it's a lie.
Yep.
I hate my serger. I hate sergers, not just my serger. I just hate serging.
Don't you zigzag finish?
I zigzag finish. Yeah, Wheeler's like, yeah, you can see
Hey,
right
you
here.
know what?
There's
If
my
you-
zigzag finish. Look at
Does
that.
that makes you happy?
It does. It makes me very happy. Zigzag finish for the win.
I love my serger.
And I've never been to California. That actually, a lot of 48% thought that was fiction. That is fact. I grew up in Washington State, and I never made it down south on the West Coast. I'm going to California twice in the next 6 months, though.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Shall I go?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, so I had 3. Mine were, I've never been to the West Coast. Summer is my favorite season, and my mom taught me to sew when I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been to the West Coast, that's true. I hate summer. I hate being hot. So that is a lie. Summer is not my favorite season. It's my least
I
favorite
don't
season.
think I would have picked that one.
No, I don't think so.
And my mom did teach me to sew when I was in elementary school.
I think everybody.
People are like,
People thought all of yours were fact. Every single one of
Yeah.
yours is more geared towards fact.
you guys something
Yeah.
I can lie. I'm a pretty terrible liar.
Yeah.
When I went to get my COVID vaccine, it was like, I don't know, a month and a half after I had COVID. And when I went in line, they were like, have you tested positive for COVID in the last 90 days? And I was with Brady and I was like, no. And they were like, okay, go on in. But he was like, you're the worst liar I've ever met. I didn't know what to say. But it was
That's
fine.
hilarious.
Christine.
Oh, I guess I'll go
Here,
next.
you can have that.
Thank you.
You're
Sorry.
welcome. No, you're fine.
So, I mean, we touched on this one. I've sewn over 200 pieces of lingerie in the past year.
Mm-hmm.
I own 4 sewing machines, and I sewed my first piece of lingerie when I was a teenager. Apparently, y'all can sniff me out.
Yeah.
because I did not sew my first sewing machine, or So my first piece of lingerie when I was a teenager, it actually was the day Maddie talks about, like she was doing her wedding dress, and it was a Barrett bralette in the studio at Open Sew. I think I was, when was that?
It was January
2020.
2020.
So
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
29.
Yeah.
I was a whole like decade beyond your last year of being a teenager.
Yeah.
So it is never too late to start.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's not even that old anyway, but still. Yes, I do own 4 sewing machines. I do know that somebody had put it out there, she thought this was a lie, and if this was not a lie, she wanted to hear all about them. So I started with a Singer. My mom got me a Singer around the same time that your mom got you a sewing machine. There was a store, not a store, like a sewing school going out of business, and they were selling in their, we went to like a hotel. This is what I remember.
Weird.
My mom will probably fact check me on this because she might be watching right now. We went to some like hotel like conference room that they had rented, and they were just like, off the back of the truck selling Singer sewing machines.
It was like
So
an
I
estate
have,
sale
like,
for the sewing school.
pretty much.
Oh my gosh,
So it
weird.
was like you got all these extra things. I got a walking foot with it, which people were like,
nice.
yeah, right? Like
Wow.
it's like, oh, fancy walking foot. Like that was like, my mom was like, oh, it comes with walking foot. I was like, I don't know what that means. Awesome.
I'm
Sounds
12.
good. Right. At 12, I'm like, okay. But it was like,
Can I make
it's-
a pillow?
yeah, it was like, it's all metal parts. So she was like, this is
Oh, it was like one of the Singer heavy
it was
duty
one
ones,
of
right?
those, like, it
Yeah.
wasn't heavy duty, but it was kind of
It was
a
a
little
good
more
one.
industrial.
An older
Which was
one.
like, this is going to be what you're going to use for, like, you'll use this for a while. I still have it, still works. There's nothing wrong with it. I wanted to upgrade to just try a computerized one when I got back into sewing.
Uh-oh.
Did it cut us off?
Yeah.
Oh, it cut us off. We probably were over an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but we're still going for
Yeah,
this.
we'll finish recording here. That's okay.
So I know I can talk a little much, which is kind of funny. So I have that one. I upgraded to a computerized one. I upgraded, I would say.
What
I
kind
got like a refurbished Brother
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Yeah.
Project
I can
Runway
see that.
style. So I have that. Then I got gifted somebody's grandma, like they were cleaning out her house, and they were like, I don't sew, I'm not going to use this. And it's a Singer heavy duty.
Oh.
So I have a second Singer heavy duty.
Oh my gosh.
And then I upgraded to my Fab machine,
Yeah.
which I got the Performance Icon.
And then you have a
because
surgery
I
too, right?
splurged.
so jealous.
Yeah.
I
The
splurged.
icon.
Yeah. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My mom splurged too, and she upgraded.
I know. It was like,
I know.
like 2 weeks later, she's like, my mom bought it too. And I was like, no,
She
she upgraded.
upgraded to the Performance Icon now too.
Oh, she
as
did.
well. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So now we have 2 Performance Icons.
Oh my gosh.
We have 2 Brother, because
Wow.
we both at the same time. It was under
like a
$100
$100,
for
yeah.
the refurbished Brother. So we were
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever. Let's
Yeah.
try it. We've never had computerized. So we have a lot of sewing machines in our house, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, my mom is like, she has her baby
Ridiculous.
lock too. And that's
Yeah.
why I like eventually decided to go with
Right.
baby.
and we
So
were like,
fun.
okay, Fab, we like them.
Yeah.
They're,
awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, she likes her walking foot, and it's got a built
I
in-
know.
yes.
That's the thing. That's the kicker. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining our first episode. And we
Yeah.
will see you for episode 2.
Woo!
Sometime in November.
November.
Yeah.
Sometime in November.
Yeah.
Sometime in November.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.